Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Spirit of Color here on Star Nations Radio Network. I am your host for the evening, and I am joined, as usual, by my two lovely co-hosts. We have Minnie Kansman in Michigan. Hello, Minnie.
All right.
Hi, Yvette. Hi.
And we have Neshi.
Hi, everyone.
Wisconsin.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to both of you. And we have a great show planned tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about color as therapy. And we've got all kinds of juicy info. We're going to kind of span a bunch of disciplines. We're going to shoot a bunch of disciplines at you in the beginning, give sort of an overview of color therapy, probably because many of you have heard of the discipline of color therapy, and give you a sense of what is color therapy and how that varies across cultures, and a little background on that. But mainly most of our time we're going to spend talking and sharing about our own ideas and experiences of color as therapy in day-to-day life, in our day-to-day lives. So that's a little overview. That's where we're headed. But I think as we usually do at the top of the hour, let's do a little centering, a little meditation to just help us tune in and be ready to receive all this information. So tonight I thought I would try something new. This is not my own meditation. Usually I do my own, but this is from a wonderful book called Healing with the Rainbow Rays, which I recommend, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So, and this is by Aliamua, Healing with the Rainbow Rays. It's out of that book. So I invite you to just get comfortable in your chair, and we will begin to take a deep breath, feel yourself in your body, and set the energy of protection around you. And you can do this by invoking either the angels, the archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Ariel, and Juriel, or calling in your own guides, and asking for the protective energy of the source of all. So we invite that in now. And then begin to notice any tense areas in your body. And go into that area and gently tighten it even more. And then release the tension. So find the tense area, tighten it even more, and then release the tension. Do this with each taut area that you notice in your body. Just scan your body, looking for areas that need tension. And breathe deeply and evenly, feeling the cleansing power of oxygen permeating your body's cells as you inhale. And then the release of carbon dioxide as you exhale. Conscious, deep breathing. This honors the physical, emotional, and mental bodies by facilitating the unblocking of the life force, while embracing the beauty of your physical expression. This allows your spiritual higher self to align in the body. Now visualize your crown chakra. That's the area right at the top of your head. And see it opening as though it were the lens of a camera, just sliding open. And we will now ask for all 13 rays of the rainbow energy to flow down through our crowns. And so I'll call these these color energies one by one, and you can just visualize them coming right down through that open lens in your crown chakra and flowing down into your body. So first red, orange, yellow, green, rose, translucent blue, indigo, violet, silver, gold, white, clear, and black. 13 rainbow rays. These are present at all 13 dimensional levels, and they can be pulled from whichever level is appropriate for you at this time. And by doing this, they will flow from the right dimension for your use. You just state your intention to bring them down. And you don't need to be concerned if you don't know about each dimension. Simply by asking for the right one, it will happen. So as the rainbow rays flow into your crown chakra, you can see them enter your bloodstream, flowing through your arteries, your capillaries, your veins. Watch them flow through all the neurons and synapses throughout the brain area. They're estimated to be between 10 and 100 billion neurons in your body. Most of these are in the brain. The brain is not only responsible for all sensory input and motor activities, it also oversees involuntary functions, such as breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure. Our precious brains supervise all the creative endeavors, as well as logical thinking and emotions. The brain is also the seat of psychic perception and abilities, processes we as a people have ignored for many centuries. These dormant psychic processes can be awakened by the application of the 13 rays of light energy. So now continue to see this rainbow blood, your blood infused with the rainbow rays as it moves through what has been called the tensor area of the body, the center of the brain, the psychic center of perception. This center is located in the middle of the brain. With intensity of thought, focus the rainbow-colored blood through your tensor area. This part of your brain will gradually awaken as you do this process regularly. Next, allow the rainbow blood to flow down the neck, shoulders, arms, torso, legs, and feet. See this rainbow energy coursing along through your blood vessels, just as your own blood is pumped through the body. Your blood, which consists of red cells, white cells, platelets, and plasma. Your red cells carry oxygen to all the other body cells. Your white cells fight disease, and the platelets stop deadly leaks through the clotting process. Your plasma, which is mostly water, carries the blood cells, platelets, nutrients, and hormones. Feel the rainbow blood electrify your physical blood, rebalancing any imbalance. And as the rainbow blood continues to travel through each portion of your body, feel it revitalize any weakened areas and enhance any normal areas. Keep the rainbow blood coursing through your body as long as you can comfortably visualize it. Just keep it circulating from your head to your feet and back again. From your head to your feet and back again. So now to bring this process to an end, just allow the rays to dissipate. Just see them dissipating, clearing the excess energy from your auric field by sending the energy down into the earth. Your spiritual intent will be for the planet to use it for clearing, healing, and aligning. And now lastly, simply close your crown chakra back up. So you can visualize that little shutter sliding closed. And feel your feet on the ground. Take another nice deep breath. Open your eyes if they've been closed. And come on back here with us. What's the color visualization technique from Healing with the Rainbow Rays?
Oh my God. I thought she's going to light us up. And you did.
Are you with me?
I like rainbow blood. Cool.
Yeah, I love that. I love that there's the 13, the extra colors, because oftentimes when we think about color therapy, I think a lot of us here in the U.S. and Western countries, there's a sense of understanding about the 7 chakras, right?
Right.
The 7 basic colors of the chakras.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to put one of those photos up for us, Neshi? I think there's 2 different ones I sent you. So the basic chakra colors are red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, and the red starts at your base and goes right up your spine, chakra by chakra. Yeah, there we go. And they each have a association in different areas that they're associated with, and that you can use the colors to activate and enhance those areas. So that's kind of our basic starting point. And that, just in case people don't know, that comes out of Ayurvedic medicine, which is a very, very old tradition out of India. And I think there's a little bit of, I don't know if the other one of you guys know, I didn't research this part of it, but so Ayurvedic medicine, what I found is that it's at least 3,000 years old. And whereas Chinese medicine is believed to be 2,500 years old, but I know I've been told by various people, including my acupuncturist, that it's probably even older than that, right?
Right.
So I think there's a little kind of back and forth of like, which is more ancient, is it Ayurvedic or is it traditional Chinese medicine? But they're both.
It's the same thing between feng shui, right, and Vedic.
Right.
Right.
It's the same thing. I mean, they argue back and forth that one's 5,000, one's 7,000. I mean, it's like after 1,000 years, what difference does it make? But
yeah.
Ancient, sacred.
It's ancient. Yeah. Now, Donna, would you like me to put the one that has the 13 colors?
Sure. Yeah, that'd be great.
Minnie, I'm going to bring you back down.
Yeah, so we have the Ayurvedic traditions as a chakra base, and then there are a lot of okay, which one is this? Oh, this is the other version of the chakras, yeah, which I thought was really neat. And on the bottom underneath, you can see there's different crystals associated with those color rays. which I love, and I've worked with that in my feng shui practice. I love working with the different colored crystals for the different areas of the bagua, and also on the body can be really powerful to place crystals by color along the spine at the chakra points. I find can really enhance different kinds of body work. So there's a little guide for that. And what else did I want to share with you guys? So then, okay, so Chinese medicine, as we were talking about, there's the more I become familiar with it, the more I realize there's a lot of color therapy embedded in traditional Chinese medicine. There's all these beliefs about the colors of the food and how they're associated with different organs, and that, you know, depending on what's going on in your body, you should eat certain color foods. I've literally, you know, been told by my doctors, no, you need, like, you know, go home and eat black foods. You need foods to stimulate your blood. So it's fascinating. And they, you know, people have been practicing medicine like this for thousands of years. And there's this intricate understanding of how the organs interact, what foods they need. And it's based on qi, right? Based on energy. It's based on the balance of the yin and the yang in the body, and then also the elements too. So it's fascinating. And so here, I want to just throw this in. When I first just sat down and I put in color therapy into anti-Google, I'm like, okay, what's anti-Google? And I went to Wikipedia, right, as we all often do, no matter what you're looking up, right? It's sort of a good place to start. And here's like one of the very first lines in Wikipedia under color therapy, which actually came up as chromotherapy, which is the more like scientific word for color therapy. And it said, an alternative medicine method which is considered pseudoscience. And I was just so struck by that, because when you think about Ayurveda and Chinese medicine and how ancient they are and how they're practiced by millions and millions of people around the world, like this is the basis of their beliefs about how the body works and what is medicine and what is healing. And yet there's Wikipedia calling it a pseudoscience. Yeah. So I had to point that out, because it's a good reminder to not believe everything you read, not on Wikipedia, you know, like,
right.
That's really someone's opinion. That's not my opinion. I don't believe it's pseudoscience at all. And I can guarantee you there's plenty of modern documentation to back that up. But anyway, so there you have that.
Whole continents of people.
Millions and millions of people in India and China. And then think about how many people are using those practices here just in the US alone. You know, I'm sure it's widely used in Europe as well. So there you have it. So those are kind of the two biggies, and like a good place to start if you're really interested and you want to delve into color therapy as a science, an actual science. Even more, you could pick either one of those disciplines and go from there. And maybe in the future we'll do a show that's just on, you know, I don't know if we've ever done a chakra show yet, have we?
Well, we did one when we first started the show a couple of years ago on just color therapy. And it was, you know, in an hour show, you can only just do so much. You know, it's like a dusting of it.
No, that's what it's like.
Yeah, so what we could do, we could come back on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, say that again, Minnie? I missed that.
I said it's just such a huge topic. It's so broad. There's so many branches of it that you could just pick one.
I know, that's how I felt after we agreed on the topic. I was like, oh, this is a big topic. Well, that's why I'm trying to just give like a broad overview at the top.
Yeah.
How people understand. And then we're going to do what we do best, which is tell our own stories from the trail. Because I think that seems to work well for our listeners, and we'll share experiences with you and ask each other questions. And then from there, maybe we'll get in a little more deeply to some of these areas. So one last thing I would just say, so I read from you this whole rainbow ray concept. I'm sure there's other books on it, but that's well, like a more modern take on color therapy. And there's lots of things you can read on that, which is quite fascinating.
Who's the author of Rainbow Ray?
Rainbow Ray is by Ali, A-L-I, I guess it's all one word, Jandra, Jandra, Alejandra.
And Ray is spelled R-A-Y?
R-A-Y-S, Rainbow Rays. Healing with the Rainbow Rays. The Art of Color Energy Therapy. And there's a sound aspect in this book as well, if you're interested in that.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really cool. So there's that kind of modern version. And then there's also a whole interesting area called Orosoma, which is color therapy with colored bottles, right? And you choose a bottle and with the therapist. And then you're also given like a tincture, right? You're given some kind of tincture to take internally.
It's a scent,
Yeah. So
I thought it was like essential oils too that went with that. I remember getting scents with the colors. I loved it. All those bottles, like if you've ever seen that display, I saw it at a feng shui conference once.
So did I.
The display of all the colors and bottles. You're just looking at them like, oh my goodness, I love that one and that one, and I mean, what a weight up that you're into right now.
I think it was that.
I wanted to do that.
I think it was
we
were all at in California, right?
Oh,
yeah, we were all going gaga.
Mine was in New Jersey, but that's where I met you, Minnie. That was quite a while ago. Remember that? You came out to that conference in New Jersey?
Yeah. I was at both of them, actually.
Yeah, so that was my
I wanted to do that.
My one and only experience with Orosoma, but I was quite taken by it. And I tried it and it worked. And I had been at this big conference and I was totally wrung out, like by all the energy of people and, all these new experiences. I mean, I was just like fried. And I picked magenta. I always remember I picked magenta. And the explanation that was given, it was like perfect. It just like charged me back up and made a huge difference. And I got through the day and enjoyed myself, So anyway, Orosoma. And then the other thing I was going to just very quickly, and this we have done a show on. If you think about the phenomenon that keeps expanding of adult coloring books, right? You could really say that that's a modern, brand new form of color therapy, because look at how many people are buying those. There's like hundreds and hundreds of coloring books for adults now. The displays everywhere, like in Staples. I went in Staples last week and they had a whole display and they had like the marker lines, the colored marker lines are just like exploding. And there were women like gathering around and choosing them. And I thought, wow, this just keeps going and going. So that's a way to get color therapy, So anyway, just some ideas.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then, of course, crystals that we mentioned. Crystals, always a great way. So that's our overview. Should we dive into our questions?
Let's dive.
Because the hour is flying by here. Okay. So question number 1 I have for both of you two lovely ladies is, so let's talk about, how do you define therapy? Like, what is therapy for you? And what therapeutic things do you do for yourself on a regular basis, or also your family and friends? And does color play a role in any of this, which I imagine it does. So you could tell us about how that does play a role. And how are you working with color as a therapy these days, just around your own home and your land? So start us off. Go for it, Neshi.
I knew you were going to do that.
Well, you were looking like you wanted to be called on. So.
No, that's okay. It's like, I want to go. No. Therapy, to define therapy for myself, is really about, it's like an avenue or a venue, a method. And for me, it's all about balance. So gaining information, whether it's written or sensory, gaining information to bring balance. To me, that is therapy. And when you're in balance, you're at peace, and you can enjoy life. You can have fun. When you're in balance, you're not stressed out about stuff to the point where it's really affecting your life. So to me, that's therapy. On a regular basis, And I had to think about this one a little bit because, my life has changed quite a bit. And so I was thinking, okay, so what is it that I do consistently? And it isn't, I still do meditation, but it's not the way I used to do it years ago. Mine is more like, okay, I've got 10 minutes. I'm going to go sit quietly 10 minutes, 5 minutes. And so, and I do that periodically through the whole day. So if I have a few minutes, it's like I sit quietly. And so I might not be in meditation for 15, 30, 45 minutes. In the old days, that's what I used to do. And I'll go and close the door and I'm gone. These days, no, it's much shorter periods of time and multiple times through the day. So I might do maybe 3 or 4 during the day when I find myself tensing up. Like today, trying to get the cafe press stuff to work, like trying to, get it to work. And so, I took a break. I went and made a cup of tea. I sat down for a couple minutes and just did some deep breathing, closed my eyes. And here's the thing that works for me every single time is imagery. Imagery. So I bring an image to me and I spend time with that image, with the color, with the scent. And it usually has something to do with nature, whether it's, one of my favorite places on one of our hikes, walking with Ginger when she was with us. So I bring those kind of images to me. But the one that works almost all the time are flowers, different bouquets. And so for me, that's what I do. And it's pretty consistent. Working with a house and the land, the colors in the house are the colors in the house. I don't have time to do painting much anymore. So it is what it is. And thank goodness it's been feng shuied for a long time. And with the land, it's all natural. I don't do a whole lot of gardening anymore either because of, the time issue. But what I'm finding is in those wild areas, when I do get a chance to go out and walk, in those wild areas, there's a lot more activity. Bees, all kinds of bugs, birds, and so in the more manicured parts that I used to have, not so much. But in the more wild areas, that's what I noticed is there's more activity, right? Minnie's shaking her head. Yes. So that's for me. I do have something I wanted to share. When I talk about flowers, let's see if I can bring it up. Scroll through here it is. Minnie, I got to bring you down for a sec. And we're going to bring this one up. Yeah. Yellow roses. The story behind this is when my dad was getting ready to walk on the last, I would say probably 6 weeks or so. It was pretty tough. It was a rough time. And many times it had to do with family members struggling with the challenge of accepting what was happening, right? And so the challenge is to be as centered and as peaceful as possible when you're in the room with him. And so I just started this is his favorite flower is the yellow rose. And so I would just sit there and spend time in meditation with this flower. And to the point where Dad was actually saying, "Can you see them? Can you smell them?" And it's like, what's that, Dad? He goes, "The roses, the yellow roses." Because I was sharing it with family members, the nieces, and saying, if you find yourself going into that place where, she said that, they did this, bring the roses in. Think about the roses. And because that was his favorite. And so it really did help shift the energy and, more importantly, our emotions about things. So I just wanted to share the imagery piece. Gorgeous. Love them. Yeah. And bring Minnie back up.
She's coming.
She's coming. There she is.
Hey. We get a countdown. Every time I come back, I get a little countdown.
Yeah.
That was beautiful, Neshi. I remember that. That was sweet. So, wow. Therapy. For me, therapy is anything I do that connects me back to who I spirit. So, like Neshi said, it's important to feel that balance. And when I'm off balance, I know that I'm not as connected as I could be. So, and what I do to bring myself back is on a regular basis, to do yoga. And it's funny because I used to have a purple yoga mat, and I loved my purple yoga mat. But it was time, they get worn out after, they get old. So I got a new one for Christmas from my sister Ann, who's listening. And I really love it. I love the pattern. I love the color. But I miss my purple yoga mat. So I've been putting the purple yoga mat on because I missed the color. And I didn't know how attached I was to it. But something about the healing and that color had more meaning than I realized. So it's been interesting. Other things I do, of course, I do my force therapy, and sometimes being in the car for the last 2 days for over 10 hours a day, I need to do my force therapy sometimes from indoors or and so I'm just look out the window if I'm home and I'm at my desk even, and I just really become moment, which is what Shinrin Roku or forest therapy does, is have you become aware of your senses. And I'll play the one experiential that we often do in Shinrin, which is what's in motion. So what's moving? Are there birds? Is it the trees? Right now there's a lot of, and what colors are going on out there with the snow and the brown and the big end, where I just got home from Florida, where I was looking at in the ocean and a lot more color. But it's really easy to just play that game of what's in motion. Mm-hmm. And that calms me down. I believe in the force therapy, the reason it calms you down is because you're watching what's in motion and you have to be still to watch that. So as you're watching the tiny little grass move, you're becoming very centered and very still. So it has that effect. And gardening, of course, in the summer, I do a lot of indoor plants. This time of year, I'm always going out and buying something blooming that's in a bright color. I have primroses right now, which are very inexpensive at this time, but you can get them in yellow and purple. And a lot of times I'll just put a big basket of them all together because I crave that color and I miss it. Where in the summer, I'm constantly out in the garden and have color, and the choices, every year, different choices of colors that I choose with my annuals. So sometimes in the colder climates, it's a little there's a little more work involved with bringing that garden color therapy in to your life. So you have to go purchase it and and bring it indoors. But it's a way to home decor. That was the other question. Interesting. Again, I was in this beautiful house. We rented a house that was, I call it French country beach, because it was blues and yellows and whites, very crisp and beautiful, but then with like white shorebirds and shells, and it was so calming and so beautiful. And I came home wanting to do like my bedroom over in those colors, or a room in my house in those colors, because they affected me so much. So I'll do that. I will create a feeling with a room. Like my office right now is just very in bright colors. This is, I want to show you, one of my favorites is my little pillow. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Um, and it's bright orange, and I bought it. It says, all you need is love and a dog on it. And I bought it when my little Bichon Katie died because I was so sad. And that bright orange and her little face just, it made me so happy. So there's, color therapy and throw pillows. What about you, Donna?
Yeah, so for me, therapy is really anything that's healing for mind, body, spirit for me. And so that can take a lot of different forms. Regular things I do, first and foremost, I dress colorfully almost every single day. I need color on my body. And the colors I choose are really intuitive. And I just, take a couple minutes standing in front of my closet, which is organized by color, literally, like groups of clothes in color. And so, I just first get like, okay, what color do I want on my body? And then I figure out what garment. It's huge for me, but that's literally like a daily practice, and it helps me on all different levels. Lately, I'm more and more mindful. Like I'm eating colorful, fresh fruits and vegetables. I've added a few foods into my diet in the last year or two. Like been working on this whole blood thing with my acupuncturist, and so I eat fresh berries year round, which is something I would never used to do. I consider that like a huge luxury, but when I realized how much I'm needing like red, I eat raspberries or blackberries or blueberries a lot, and I take that in, and to me that's really nourishing, therapeutic. And veggies too, making sure I get good green veggies in the winter. I'm really good in the summer when I'm at the farmer's market all the time, but the winters can be long and hard here on the East Coast, and but luckily we have access to so much great produce that I'm just finding in middle age it's a good thing to do for myself, to make sure I get good veggies. Going outside on a sunny day, that's another one. In the last several years, if we have several dreary days in a row, and then I'm watching the weather all the time to see when's the sunny day this week, and as much as I can, I just organize my schedule. Like, okay, that's the day I'm going out, either to run errands, get a walk in, or whatever, so that I'm sure to get sunshine. Because again, especially in the winter months, it's totally therapeutic for me. I need those sun rays on my body for sure. Plus taking vitamin D. Mm-hmm. And then keeping plants in the house. That's another one that just helps a lot. I find that really therapeutic. I have some herbs I bring in for the winter, and I've been able to keep them alive in my kitchen with a nice little grow light. And that it's just like a sweet little thing, but it keeps me connected to the outside, and just a reminder of like spring is coming, gardening is coming again. So, and then just lots of houseplants around the house. I enjoy those. And then, of course, in the warmer weather, I'm outside a lot, and I'm growing herbs, I'm growing flowers, all kinds of perennials. So that's a biggie for me. But around the house, more and more these days, a lot of my color therapy happens in my studio. It's me down there working with paper and doing collage work, and also I moved into the mixed media realm because I was just so craving working with paints and pastels. And so I usually in the afternoons, once my office work is done, that's my daily dose. I'm down there and I'm getting my color therapy through through paper and paint, as it were. So that's me.
Well, can we show your collage work?
Oh yeah, sure. And were there any other photos from that?
Yeah, hang on. Let's show that one. And then I thought we'd show one of the food too.
Yeah.
Here, hang on. Sorry, Min.
Thank you for reminding me. I'm still not used to this fancy technology that we can have photographs.
So we're showing your collage work.
Yeah, so that is a shot of my deck of Collage Quest cards, my personal deck that I made. It's got about 100 cards in it, and they're laid out face up for the choosing. Mm-hmm. Center a bunch of candles and crystals.
Yeah. So we're gonna whiz by a few pictures here so I can get to the food. There we go.
Yeah, and then there's this, which I thought was a great reminder of how different colors of food support different processes in the body, right? So white for the immune system, that's not one is in my consciousness. That's one I need to remember. Green for detox, right? All our good greens. Yellow for beauty, purple, longevity. Red for, this says heart health, but I know it's really good for the blood. This I know. And orange, cancer prevention. That's also not one that I was aware of, but anyway, good reminder. Go for the colors when you eat.
Go for the colors. Well, you know, and don't you find that we do eat our meals by sight, and then it's taste, right? And so the plate is pleasing.
Oh yeah.
And we're attracted to color. We're kind of like those bees and birds, you know. We're attracted to the color, yeah, and then the scent.
Yeah, and we're marketed to by color for sure, right?
Oh God, yes.
The marketing.
Oh yeah, good advertising.
Yeah, to entice us.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show.
A whole other show.
That is.
Yeah, it is. We could do
how to make that spiritual, but yeah, we could do it.
Well, no, we could do it. I bet you could. It'd be a challenge, but we could do it.
Okay, we'll put it on for next year.
There you go.
Okay, question number 2. So let's talk about other times of our life when I know we all used to work in some kind of office or retail space, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you recall being affected by the colors of the decor when you worked out of the home most of the day? And any stories, any things you remember from your feng shui clients, you know, working with them in that way, helping them to improve their space, maybe any classes you've taught about color in some way. Mm-hmm. So go for it, Neshi.
Well, when I read this question, I had to smile, kind of laugh to myself, because the first experience that popped into my head was I've pretty much always worked for a government agency, you know, and so, you know, when you walk into those government buildings, they're usually gray. Everything's gray when you walk in. Kind of reminds me of Joe and the Volcano, that movie. In my cubicle when I worked for the state, how I brought in color was usually by a plant. That was when I had a window. You know, that was kind of, you're lucky if you got a window. So that the plant would have light. When I was working on the interior, the building of the space, and we had no windows, it really was more about my accessories on my desk and at my altar. Most people didn't even know I had an altar in my office until they actually walked in, and they'd say, "Oh, what's this? What's that?" You know. And so what I would use would be like a cloth napkin for the altar cloth with the color, depending on what I was doing for the energy in that space. And it was kind of a fine line, though, because at one point I shared a cube with, it was called a pod, with 4 other people. Well, actually, no, there was 4 of us total, so 3 other people. And so you had to be kind of careful about, you know, your intention not overlapping on somebody else's. And, oh, we lost Minnie. So using the altar cloth and the things on the altar led to teaching classes about how to create altars. And so getting into color in those classes with other people. And I would have, and I still do, I think, a whole bin of, remember those scarves we wore in the 80s and the 90s?
Yes, I do. I still have some.
I know that became my altar cloth bin, because students would then select the cloth and they would put together an altar, and then talk about their intention for their altar. So that's kind of how I incorporated the stuff that I learned from the state and from the county jobs when there wasn't much color in the decor. So, oh, there she is. Come on, Minnie.
She's coming back?
She's coming back. There she is.
Like, just lost you.
You disappeared. So yeah. I just finished up. I was talking about altar cloths and how using them in my job led to teaching classes about how to set up an altar, intention, even how to take one down, So that's how, that's how I kind of worked in with color. Of course, and the crystals and the stones, of course. So go for it, Min.
Yeah, Min.
Well, I worked in a floral shop, so there was a lot of color around me all day. So it was the biggest choice, when we could make an arrangement of whatever we wanted, when it wasn't just the customer wanted, red roses or, a purple arrangement or whatever, then I could just walk into the flower cooler and pick whatever colors I wanted to put together. So it was quite a fun job, really. I just wanted to do that all day, but I had to wait on customers and make planners and do other things as well. But I also did window displays. And, again, really floral design is all about colors. So, and lots of holidays that determine the color, like we would have just finished Valentine's, so you'd be working with all the reds and pinks and whites, and Christmas, the big red and green, and adding the gold and silver, and so there were certain colors that followed all those seasons. Easter would always be the pastels and hot pinks, and so that was, when I think about it, that question was kind of interesting for me, Donna, because I hadn't thought for a long time about that. But the walls of the floral shop were like white because everything else was color that you put in it. So it was very fun. It was a fun job. It was a lot of work, but it was fun. And the scent, that's a whole nother layer of just walking into the cooler and the scent of carnations and roses. And I'll never forget that. That, and you'd have clients come and they'd want to come pick out their own colors, and you take them in the cooler and they would just be like, oh, it's so amazing. You're so lucky, that you get to work here. So color is a big part of that job. And, it still is in my feng shui clients. I'm working with the 5 elements all the time, and the colors to balance their space. So, like, if you walk into a room that's all like whites and silvers, and it's a very metal environment, and they're like, why does it feel so cold in here? A lot of times it's an office space. And I say, all we have to do is melt this metal just a little bit. Let's just put a little touch of red. Doesn't need to be much, but a little touch of red, their shade of red, burgundy red, even hot pink. That will bring the fire element in, and fire melts metal. So, and then if you put a little touch of green in, a little touch of wood, because the wood feeds the fire, then you've got a really dynamic environment happening. So in those government buildings, Neshi, a little touch of red, a little touch of green, a little plant, a little something red.
That's right.
A whole different place. That's probably what you did with your altar.
That's why I had so many people visiting my cubicle.
Yeah.
Coming for
I use it a lot. And it'll be like, I'll walk into a client's, room. It'll be beautiful. The furniture will be great. The clutter's all cleared up. There's still something off. It's usually the color balance is off. There's some element that's overpowering all of the others. Or there's an element that's not there, that's missing. Because you really want a balance of all 5. So that's a whole nother show, Chinese 5 element work. Yeah. But that's what I use. And Donna?
Yeah. So color with the client thing. what I've noticed over the years is that I generally get called in to help with something related to color. And for a long time, it was warming the space up, that there just wasn't a lot of color going on. And somehow they heard about me, tuned into me, and realized she's going to help me do color. And so we would, and a lot of times it was me just giving permission. And then they knew exactly what they wanted, what the space needed, but just encouraging that. Mm-hmm. 2 quick office stories. So one of the very first offices I ever worked in was a very bland office, like off-white walls and almost no color. And it was a great office. I loved working there. I loved the 2 people that I worked for, and I learned a lot from them. They were mentors to me for many years, 2 wonderful chiropractors. And I also learned there how important color was to me. And I only worked there part-time. It's not even like I was there, like 40 plus hours a week, but there just wasn't enough color happening in space for me. And that was the beginning. That was the very beginning when I found feng shui, and I began to realize how much I loved color. And I even studied color a little bit, took a class on color. And but that, hey, I learned from a bland office. And then a couple of years after that, I worked very briefly in an interior design office that was so dark and heavy. The walls were painted chocolate brown, and the flooring was like dark color, I can't remember. And the walls were painted with oil-based paint. This office, and there were no windows. And we had done the space over and moved into it. And so all this oil-based paint, off-gassing. There was a front door and a back door. That's all there was for ventilation. And I had such a rough time. I got some kind of chemical toxic poisoning from the space. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't see straight. I couldn't think. So again, really powerful lesson. It didn't end so great, but powerful lesson in oil-based paint inside, not for this body, not for this empathic body. No. The importance of ventilation. Mm-hmm. And so those are 2 of my space stories. And then in terms of like classes and teaching, most of what I'm doing these days, the Collage Quest classes that I teach, it's all about, we start with color. And I teach people how to enter through what I like to call the mystical doorway of color. Mm-hmm. That if you start there and you really tune into color and let color speak to you, then color can guide your whole collage process. You're just listening and you're asking questions, or you're just asking the general question to ask. All the time is show me, just show me. And you can learn to be shown by what you're drawn to color-wise, and make things and put things together that you probably would normally not have done. But it's all based on tuning into different color rays, gathering similar color ray images, and making them into a collage. So that is how I love to work these days.
And that's my favorite part of the Collage Quest, is going through the color, the door, the mystical doorway of color. I love that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Working with Donna as well, it's that way to enter into collage is so much in the right brain rather than the left brain of what image, what do I want to manifest? What do I want to, bring into my life? But to just go with color and then see what your spirit wants you to bring in, that's what I've found when I do it that way. It's like my head is totally gone out of the picture.
Yeah.
And just open to my intuition so much more when I start with color.
Yeah, because then you can quiet down all that monkey mind and all the analysis of the left brain and get to the other side and see what's going on. Yeah.
And to borrow a phrase from you, Donna, that's groovy.
That is groovy. That's really good. Well, okay, I'm trying to watch the clock here for us.
I know.
We don't have much time left. What do you think? I guess we have to skip our last question. What do you think? You want to try to do it really fast? Each take a minute?
Fast. Let's do fast.
Last question. So more globally now, and of all the countries that you visited, you world travelers, the 2 of you, which ones did you find the most colorful and therapeutic? Go, Minnie.
All right, wait, I'm going to bring your picture up.
Oh,
Okay.
bring up our Ireland or the monk, either one. Tell me which one you're bringing up, though. Oh, Ireland. Okay. This is one of my photos from Ireland. And for me, you hear about Ireland and the connection with the green, but until you go there and you actually see greens, and I'm a gardener and I work with green all the time here in Michigan, but the greens in Ireland, I swear they have more shades of green than we do. And I just love that. And it felt so healing just to be on that land with all of that beauty and that green. So that was my favorite. In Thailand, if you pick up the picture of the monk, Neshi, for me, just when I went to Thailand and you'd see the monks walking around in their, the saffron and burgundy robes, and I didn't get to see the Dalai Lama, but, that's the colors that they wear. And I don't know, burgundy is one of my favorite colors. I don't know if it's my favorite color because I connect it to the monks, or I love the monks because I love burgundy. But that color combination right there brings me joy and peace and serenity when I see that. And I think of the monks praying and the experiences we had with them there. So those are my two color experiences.
Okay, Neshi, how about you and your travels? Most colorful place or experience?
In my travels. Well, let's see if I can get to it. In my travels, and we're going to give this one a solo, just for a little bit. This isn't in another part of the world. This is right here in the United States, North Dakota to be specific. This is Osheti-Sakoing, which is where the water protectors were located in 2016 and part of 2017. And this particular picture is a great picture about Flag Road. And the Flag Road was about how indigenous, other Native American nations that were supporting Standing Rock would send their flag, would actually send emissaries and their flag, and they would raise their flag. But that wasn't just the indigenous people. There were other countries. Sovereign nations is what it all was. And there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of flags of all different colors. And when you first drove in, it was awing to see that many flags at one time. And it went, the length of the road, I can't even tell you. It had to have been at least a quarter mile, maybe even a half mile long. Yeah. And it was just flags from beginning to end. Yeah. On both sides. Mm-hmm. And to see that much color and how much each nation was associated with that particular color or colors, Mm-hmm. Fascinating. That was that one. And let's see. And I also had this one. This is a sunrise, and I used this in for Star Nations. It's about when Grandmother Earth and Grandfather Sky meet, and you can feel the love between them that they have for each other. And I love this picture because to me, that's what I see in this image. And then the colors. Love that purple and, the orangey yellow of the sun. And so world traveling, yes, but my picks for tonight were from the U.S.
Lovely.
Yeah.
It's a good place to be, too.
Yeah. All right. Whoops. I'll bring that down. Bring Minnie back up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, I posed this question, but no countries really came to mind. No places. I haven't been anywhere really colorful yet. I'm looking forward to that. But what I did think of was like theater work, like a different way of traveling. And I remember a couple of the really colorful shows that I was in. I did a couple of musicals like Annie Get Your Gun, with just beautiful, colorful sets and costumes. And I was in Camelot way back in college and just, really being exposed to what goes into making a theater show. It's incredible. You know, there's the lighting design, there's set design, there's costume design, and all of those designers have to work together and make the colors work with the whole concept, the director's direction and concept of the show. And it's fascinating. When it's done well, you know, magic happens and you are transported. You know, it's like you're traveling through time into the story itself. So I highly recommend that. Either, you know, if you can't be on the stage, then just, you know, live theater, yay, support live theater. Go.
Yep, go watch it.
And transport it and support the arts and all the people that make it. So there we are, and we're at the top of the hour.
We did it.
Yes, we are. Wow.
Can we do a quickie share of what we're doing?
Sure.
Yeah. What you up to?
Well, as the weather warms up this spring, in March and April, I'd like to do some Shinrin walks here in Portland, Michigan at the Stone Circle. I'm teaching at the Great Lakes Retreat, which is July 22nd through the 27th. And I also have a walk scheduled in Davison, Michigan at the Shiawassee Basin Preserve, May 6th. I'm doing a Shinrin walk there from 1 to 4 with their recreation department. So come join me.
Wow. That's great. That's great. Let's see. Well, first of all, happy Chinese New Year. That was a start today.
Happy Chinese New Year.
And we also did, I think the solar eclipse happened when our show was getting started or right around the time. I don't know about the time difference. It's mostly in the southern hemisphere. And so we're also experiencing that solar eclipse right around now. And so, you know, it's kind of what they call an auspicious time, right? And with that, basically, I am very much all star nations, everything practically. We're starting the March issue, and so we're just at the very, very beginnings of that. But we're also doing some redesign and that sort of thing, and we're also starting to bring together back the academy piece, and so that is going to be my focus for the next couple of weeks. Anyway, is that how we're going to relaunch that, and it's going to be good. It's going to be fun, and so those are the things that I'm really, really busy with, and so the magazine, the February issue just came out on the 10th, and we got some really good articles in there, especially about the lunar calendar and the Chinese New Year, and of course Valentine's, and everything about the heart. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yay! And we forgot to say happy day after Valentine's Day to everybody.
Yeah.
Valentine's, and maybe celebrating into the weekend. I'm up to a lot of collage these days. So I am going to be offering an ongoing once-a-month series here locally in my hometown of collage quests, an ongoing group for people who kind of want to go deeper and understand how the process works and how to really make it a spiritual practice for yourself. So I'm excited to do that. I did that years ago. I haven't done it in a while. So that is happening, and you can check out Collage Quest Facebook page for those dates, because I don't have them in front of me. So that's what I'm up to.
Well, I'll put your website in the chat room. So that's Collage Quest.
The website is healinginteriors.com.
Oh, healinginteriors.com.
Collage Quest. So thank you to my co-hosts once again for another colorful
Thank you.
It's been fun.
Yep.
Thank everybody for being with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you all who joined us and all who will join us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Do us a favor and like and share the recorded show too when you're watching it. That'll be very helpful.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
So thanks everyone. We'll see you again next month here on donations.
Right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.